Begin, okay? Special Olympics for some other sports that we have, they actually start at 4, 5, and 6 years old for swimming, athletics, and some of those other programs. But for powerlifting, it was 14. Well, in 1999, the Special Olympic World Games came to the Research Triangle area. And being in charge here in North Carolina, I was asked if I would be the sport commissioner for that. And that was the first time that I was exposed to international powerlifting and anything like that. So I was had the opportunity there to help run those competition there in Raleigh, and it was a great competition. Big challenges from everywhere. Right now, there are 5.5 million Special Olympic athletes in the world in over 170 countries. That's come a long way since 1968 when Miss Shriver had a camp in her backyard. So Special Olympics is growing and growing and growing. But in 1999, it was actually in North Carolina, the World Games, which was the first World Games that I was able to be a part of. In 2003, it moved to Dublin, Ireland, and I was chosen as the head powerlifting coach for Team USA. So that was a great experience. We got to actually go and live in a host town in Belfast for about 4 days to get acclimated and everything before the competition, and then the competition was actually in Dublin, Ireland. So that was in 2003. In 2007, I was chosen as a technical delegate for powerlifting in Shanghai, China. And basically as a technical delegate, I go in and facilitate the event from start to finish. I kind of work with the local people there and set it up, how we're going to run the competition, what kind of officials we're going to bring in, what kind of equipment we're going to need. My personal background is in sports management. It's what I do in my day-to-day job. So it was very easy for me to transition that into powerlifting and running big competitions and running meets and things like that. Special Olympics I feel like I'm the blessed one to be able to work with these athletes. They are so special, and I can tell you a million stories and things that I remember. But one thing that I do want to say is that being able to give back. I can't just open up my checkbook and write a check for $1 million and help everybody. But I feel like by me giving my time and effort to make these special athletes, give them the best competition, the best time, lifetime memories, is what I want to do. I work hard when I'm there, just like I would in my day-to-day job, because I fight for them, and we're going to have the best that we can, because I want those athletes to have the best experience, because they deserve that experience. After the games in Shanghai, it was moving on to Athens, Greece, and luckily I was chosen to go to Athens, Greece as well. And that was a very good Olympics, because the original Olympics were there, and we actually got to go and see where the original Olympic Stadium was. So that had a lot of history and everything behind it. After that, it came back to Los Angeles in 2015, and to let you know how big Special Olympics has gotten, ESPN actually picked up Special Olympics and aired Special Olympics in 2015. There were 24 sports at those summer games. Powerlifting, which was my event there, was the only one that they aired live. And I was very excited. I got to work with ESPN and coordinate camera positions and things like that. So that was very good, but it was very good for our sport. Powerlifting is a very dynamic sport. We have male and female lifters. We have some lifters that can barely lift the bar. And then we have some lifters that are lifting 600, 700 pounds. So it's a big range of differences in powerlifting, but it is a very dynamic sport. They do 3 lifts in powerlifting, which is the deadlift, the bench press, and the squat. So you can see that where there could be some really big lifts. There is a guy from Canada, they actually did a special ESPN on him. His name is Jackie, and he deadlifted close to 700 pounds. So powerlifting has been very good, and I enjoy everything about that I do. I just got back 2 weeks ago from Abu Dhabi, which is in the United Arab Emirates, which will be the host for the World Games in 2019. That was the first time I'd ever been to the Middle East, and I'm really excited about those games. They're really looking to put on a good show. there. I'll get to go back this March for a test event, and then in 2019, when the actual games are, I'll be there for a couple of weeks. So it's been a life-changing event for me. Like I said, I feel like that I can give back to Special Olympics and give my skill set, but I feel like I'm the one that is being rewarded by being able to work with these athletes, and it's allowed me to go places and see things that I would have never seen before. And yes, and I'm from Wilson, so you wouldn't even think that. So, a couple of quick stories. In 1999, you know, I'm not the biggest guy. I'm kind of short, and I'm not real big, but I was Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodyguard just for a day. So that's a true story. Actually, he came to the venue, and everybody wanted to flock to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this was in '99, and this was before he was the governor, and this was when he was still really huge, the Terminator and everything. But basically, I ran the venue, and I knew where people had access to. So technically, I was his bodyguard for a day, so I can put that on my resume one day. But I also had the opportunity to meet a lot of celebrities. New Jersey is John Bon Jovi is from New Jersey, so they came and did a promo with the powerlifting athletes and everything there. So we got to hang out with Bon Jovi and while he was doing the videos and things like that. So that's just some of my little personal stories that I got to meet a lot of different people. Colin Farrell when we were in Dublin. U2 actually sang 5 songs at the opening ceremonies there. So those are some memories that I'll never forget. But the one thing that I would, and I see on your program, inclusion drives innovation. And that's very close to me because inclusion right now is a big movement in Special Olympics. Every sport in 2019 will be the first time that powerlifting is offering unified. Unified sports in Special Olympics is when we have a Special Olympic athlete and a traditional athlete combined to make one team. So inclusion is really, really big right now, and that's a big push. And they do it in all different types of sports, especially team sports. It's easy for basketball where you have you have both athletes there. Now we're getting to some smaller sports like even swimming is doing some pairing. Okay, gymnastics is doing some pairing. Powerlifting is doing some pairing for unified, which is the inclusion movement. So Special Olympics is on a big inclusion movement right now, just like with the theme for you guys are today. But I just wanted to say thank you very much for allowing me to talk with you today. Couple other things. I did bring a few medals from some of the games. The Special Olympic medals look like the Olympic medals, and I probably have a dozen or so medals in my bag. If anybody would like to see them or something before I leave, I'll be glad to stick around. But it's very important that these Special Olympics athletes are treated just like the regular Olympics. The rules are the exact same. We don't bend the rules just because they're Special Olympic athletes. Rules are rules, and that adds to the integrity of the sport. And that's something that we really preach and live by, and that's what makes these athletes special. Thank you very much for your time. You have a great day.